Alrighty, y'all. So we are here with episode 3. Alright, so we pretty much start off with Prince Charles. He's on the phone with like Queen Elizabeth, and Queen Elizabeth is on the phone with everybody. It's like a pretty much a phone of a game of like phone tag or telephone. You know how like you tell somebody one thing, then they keep passing on. But anyway, he's explaining to her pretty much how he is now engaged to Diana, how he proposed to her in the nursery. No, he did not get down on his knees. He ain't doing all that. He just asked her if she would marry him. She said yeah, and she was excited. She took her ass back to London, to the flat that she was staying at with her 3 friends. And of course, like her friends, they're super super hype. I would be dumb hype for my friend too. Okay, after she goes there, she gets all of her stuff and whatnot. She leaves, she's leaving out all of this paparazzi left and right. So she goes to the palace, pretty much, which is where she'll be staying. Now, they said pretty much the reason that she should move into the palace now versus waiting until they got married is because there's just a lot going on. Remember, Diana was 18 at the time. Charles was, I think, like 31 or 32 or something like that. So it was a kind of a lot, for her. So they're like, we're just going to bring her in here, and we also are going to get somebody to, kind of teach her how to be, a princess pretty much, which I think somebody in like Diana's family is going to teach her. At first they had Queen Elizabeth, but Queen Elizabeth said, absolutely the fuck not. I'm not teaching all those for nothing. And so, yeah. So, like I said, she gets there. She ends up picking out a ring, very, very nice ring. And once she gets all of that together, then she finds out that right after she gets engaged, that Charles is going to be going on tour. He's going to be going on tour for 6 weeks. So yeah, you engaged, but now you about to be in this house, big ass house, palace, excuse me, by your damn self, without your man that you barely really even know, but without your man, and without any type of anybody that you know. Okay. So before Charles leaves, he tells her, "Oh, you should go, and hang out with Camilla." And she's like, "Why would I go and hang out with your ex?" So I assume at this point, again, like I told you, I am learning as I go. So I guess at this point, this was not just like a thing known within his family. I guess everybody knew that at some point in time he was messing around with Camilla. So he was like, "Well, she's the best company to have." I would have smacked the fuck out of him right then and there, but whatever. So, we see Diana, she's going through training or whatever, and then you also see her, she's getting in a shitload of mail. She writes some people back. And a lot of this episode was pretty much, the majority of this episode was pretty much us seeing, like, how lonely it was for Diana. You being in this big ass house, you don't know anybody, nobody's really talking to you. The royal family as a whole don't even really talk to each other. They're not very, like, warm with each other. They're very like stoic people. That was actually one of the things that they talked about, like in maybe the first or second season, about Queen Elizabeth, about how she came off to the public and to her family as well is very like stoic. Like, she doesn't show a lot of emotion, which when you're a queen, you can't really do that. So it's like a so yeah. But anyway, so like I said, every time she would try to call the prince, oh, he's not available, and she knew that people was pretty much that people knew, she knew that the prince was telling people to tell her that he was busy. Not that he was really busy, he just didn't want to talk to her. And then the same thing would happen with the queen. When she would call to talk to the queen, oh, she's not available. It's always nobody's available. So clearly, sis was just going and staying in the house. So she was like, fuck it, let me go meet up with this bitch Camilla. So she goes and she meets up with Camilla. And the main thing that stuck out to me about this is just the on and on and on and on. And granted, I understand that Charles is, y'all mutual link. But for you to sit there as somebody's fiance and have you you are the fiance and you're sitting here having dinner with your fiance's ex. And not only that, but you have to sit there and listen to her tell you about your man. You gotta sit up here and listen to her tell you about, oh, well, he likes this. This is his favorite color. This is what he likes to eat. It was like the transition team or something. Like, how like right now we're going through like this transition team, and when you go from one administration to the next, you have to have the transition team. Like, that's what Camilla was. Camilla was like the transition team, but for like Prince Charles, like penis and like his mind and stuff. And it was very unsettling to me. Very unsettling. Like, bitch, I do not want to sit up here and hear you tell me about my man constantly. You could tell, Diana was bothered. Oh, he does this and he didn't tell you about that. No, he didn't tell you about this. Oh, he didn't tell you about that. I would just be looking at her like, bitch, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She has this thing about her eating because when she was sitting there, you could see that she kept looking at like Camilla eating and stuff. And I guess she was like, I guess Princess Diana was trying to like watch the way that she was eating and stuff. But she said fuck it. She went in and then she would go home and throw up. But she would do that a lot. Like she would eat a whole lot, but then go and throw it up. And I would assume that's because she wanted to eat a lot, but she didn't want to gain like a lot of weight. So that's why she like threw up so much. She goes to go and see. I don't know who the hell this is to Charles. Y'all could put it in the comments who it is. I don't know if it's his advisor, his who the fuck ever. But she goes to the office and says, I want to talk to Charles now. And he's like, oh, well, you know, we can or whatever. He's busy. And she's like, I know he told you to tell me that. So she's walking around the office looking at things and she picks up this little drawing or whatever. And it's a F. It's a bracelet and it's an F and it's a G. Now, when she was at lunch with Camilla, you know, Diana asked, she said, who's Gail? And she said, oh, I'm Gail. Like, that's what we call each other. Like, I'm Gail and he's Fred. So the drawing that she seen was like a bracelet, like in a woven, and it had an F and a G on it. So of course she snaps the fuck out, goes back to the palace, starts fucking everything up left and right. And so Charles gets back or whatever. He gets back. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to do 2 episodes because it wasn't a lot. Charles ends up getting back. You know, they're getting ready for the wedding and everything like that, and you know, they're at the rehearsal. So she pretty much pulls him into the back and is like, you know, I know what's going on with y'all. I seen the little drawing. You know, like I'm not here for it. Like we're supposed to be getting married, and you're out here entertaining like this bitch. Again, if you've never watched my reviews, this is not what she said. This is how I say it. I just speak from my language on how I interpreted what they said. And so he pretty much says to her, which is a lie to me, oh, I got that for her because it was going to be a gift to say goodbye. Like the reason it took me so long to get back here is because I went there to tell her that we couldn't be a thing anymore. And so I was going to give her that, you know, as a little farewell. And Diana walked off just like I would, because you're full of shit. You're full of shit. You've been messing with this woman for too long. You're full of shit. So then, you know, we switch over to like I think a dinner or whatever with like the queen and her sister Princess Margaret and the mother and I think Anne, her daughter. And Margaret, no, I don't know where we was. We was in this room pretty much together where Margaret was there and Queen Elizabeth and I think maybe Philip was there. I don't remember who was in the room, but I think those 3 people was in the room. And Margaret pretty much put it out there. She was like, look, at the end of the day, he does not love, he loves Camilla. He loves Camilla. And she put it out there like, y'all not allowing people to marry who they want to marry has been a line throughout this entire family that has made every single person fucking miserable, and y'all need to cut it out. Can we go from the beginning to abdication down to Margaret and who it is that she wanted to marry, down to even we'll get to Anne in a minute about who Anne really wants to be with. Like, y'all are just all full of shit. Y'all just all full of shit, okay? And pretty much Margaret was like, all of this needs to stop. Like Margaret was the only one saying, we need to stop this wedding for both of their sakes. They will both be miserable as fuck if you make them do this. They don't want to do this. We should stop this now. And y'all really should have. You should have listened to Margaret, okay? And so, everybody else was like, no, you know, this is just how it is. Everybody just gonna have to suck it up. This, that, and the third. So then, Queen Elizabeth goes to go and see, you know, Charles. He's like in another room. And okay, if anybody watches Game of Thrones, this scene of Queen Elizabeth talking to Prince Charles like about pretty much like duty. Ooh, what the fuck is that? I'm sorry, y'all. I see something. It looked like a little gremlin. Talking about duty, it gave me the exact conversation that Catelyn had with Robb. Now, again, this is if you watch Game of Thrones. If you don't, you ain't gonna get this reference. But y'all know about how Robb married, you know, he was supposed to marry Walder Frey's daughter, but he didn't marry her. He ended up marrying the nurse. I can't think of her name right now, but you know, the nurse that he ended up marrying, right? And she had a conversation with Robb in that tent before he did it and explained to him, look, me and your father, aka Ned Stark, we was an arranged marriage. And no, at first we didn't like each other, you know, but it took us time. We built on that love. And I think she said, like, it might not be traditional, but, like, it works. You know what I mean? Like, we had to learn to love one another. And, yeah, it might not be the most glamorous thing, the most romantic thing, but it works. And that's what she was trying to tell Rob at the time is, yeah, you might not really love Walder Frey's daughter, you might not give a fuck about her, but what did she say? I think she said it's stronger. Like the foundation, she said, was stronger, built on the fact that they had to learn to love each other. And that's pretty much what Queen Elizabeth was trying to say to Charles. Like, I know you don't really care about her. I don't really give a fuck about your father either. But you want to know what? As time went on, I learned to love him. But that said, you can. I don't want to say you can learn to love anybody, but if you put somebody in a situation, you kind of can learn to love and learn to tolerate anybody. But that's not the fucking point here, okay? Then we see, it's wedding time, everybody getting ready, and I love how they showed like her in the dress, but like walking, like going to, going away when she's about to go down to the altar. Not when she's on the altar, when she's about to go to the altar. And that long shot, like widen out of the dress, iconic dress. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't show the wedding, but I would assume they didn't show the wedding because I think that wedding was like the most viewed wedding like of all fucking time. It was, everybody know what happened at that wedding. We was all there, and if you don't know, you can go on YouTube and look it up. So that's episode 3. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't much that. So episode 4. So episode 4, we start off as 1982, okay, and Margaret Thatcher, okay, goes to go see the Queen or whatever. And when she goes see the Queen, you can tell that she's a little bit off. She starts crying and stuff. And come to find out, because we start off the show with seeing like, it say that some man's like in Algeria and it's like a race that's happening. But come to find out, her son has been lost in this race in Algeria, okay? And this pretty much leads to, this episode pretty much is wrapped around the fact that the Queen is like pretty much trying to, I don't want to say get to know, but she's trying to reconnect with her kids, because the whole situation with Margaret and her son has, I guess, made her like think about her children. And after they had that conversation, about what happened to her son, and she was like, don't worry, we're gonna find him. Queen Elizabeth and Philip, they have a conversation. And, Philip is like, at least she's being honest, about who her favorite child is, because Margaret Thatcher has twins. But he pretty much says, well, at least she's being obvious about what child is her favorite. And, Queen Elizabeth is like, you don't do that, like, parents don't have favorites. And she was like, yes, they do. And I love that he said that, because people like this every time, I don't have a favorite. You can love your children all the same, but every parent has their favorite. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Every parent has their favorite child. As long as you don't treat that child differently compared to the rest, I don't really see that being a problem, okay? So he was like, yes, I do. He's like, yes, there is. And she was like, well, who's your favorite? Anne. And I told y'all, I think like, the first or second episode, that it's clear that him and Anne are like this or whatever. He's like, Anne, I'll tell you right now, Anne, that's my favorite child. And then he was like, who's your favorite child? And she didn't answer. And he was like, oh, I already know who it is. And then she was like, well, who is it? He didn't say anything. He just left the room. So after that, she calls like her little, person in the room, was like, look, I need you to set up meetings with every single last one of my children. So that's pretty much what we're kind of doing. So this, to sidestep that for a second, because we'll get back to the storyline with her and her kids. But a subplot that's going on at the time is that, what is it? It's some scrap metal workers that are in, where are they from? I think it's Falkland or whatever. And I can't remember who was trying to take reign of that, or what country, but some country was trying to pretty much say like, no, we own this, and England is like, nah, bitch, we own this. So it's pretty much, this whole episode was kind of a back and forth about what they should do about the situation. And Margaret Thatcher is in between dealing with trying to find her son, and also trying to handle this situation that's going on, with the people trying to claim everything. And so when Margaret Thatcher, she's in a meeting, talking about her son, them trying to find him and whatnot, and then her military people come in and they tell her, that's what it's Argentina. Argentina pretty much, they ready to go to war over this itty bitty little piece of land or whatever, and how they're going to be sending missile ships and all of this left and the third, and how it's just pretty much getting the fuck out of control. And I believe it's this episode that when they're all sitting together at that meeting, I don't know if it's this episode or the next one, but I know they was pretty much all sitting together at a table, Margaret Thatcher and her cabinet, whatever, and a lot of them are pretty much saying like, we don't need to take this no further, like we can handle this diplomatically, let's go that route. And I don't know if it's because of everything that was going on, but Margaret wasn't on that shit. She's like, nah, we're not about to do this diplomatically. She asked the person, military, because anybody in the military, chief, he almost always ready to fucking go. No matter where you go. He lives to go to war 9 times out of 10. Not him, but I'm saying a lot of people who are like the chief of the military, whatever the fuck it's called. When you hit the military, they be ready to go to war. They be like, yup, we ready, let's go. So he's like, yep, we ready, let's go. And everybody else at the table is like, I don't think we should be doing this. Like, we should be like calming down. You know, unemployment is super, super high. Also at this time, there's like a lot going wrong right now with the economy and with the way that people are perceiving her administration. At the time, a lot of people wasn't liking her and wasn't like what the fuck they was doing. So they're like, I think maybe we should do this diplomatically versus just trying to go to war because we already got people who don't like us. But Margaret's like, fuck that shit, no. Margaret also has, like I said, while she's waiting for her son, you know, dealing with that, you know, she has, you know, this situation, not situation, but, you know, little small conversations with her daughter. Because, again, like I said, she has twins. And, you know, her daughter did confront her about, you know, the son being her favorite. And, you know, Margaret said, you want to know why he's my favorite? Because he is, what did she say? Because he's stronger. Is that what he said? Yeah, that he's not weak or whatever, and he's strong. And her daughter pretty much said, okay, well, you feel like that because you had a bad relationship with your mom, and that's why you can't really get along with any type of female. And it makes sense because remember what she said when she first met the queen is that, oh, I don't think a woman could do it because a woman wouldn't be able to be, she'd be too emotional. That ties back into her saying, oh, I think she'd be too, I don't deal with people that are weak. And you know, Margaret Thatcher talked about, you know, how her mother compared to her father was very, very weak, very docile, and how she got all of her strength from her father. And like her daughter said, that's something that you really need to work on because of how your mother was, that's how you view all women, which is weird because you're a woman yourself and you think that you're the exception to the rule of not being weak, docile, and meek. But you are, and you can be, just like you are in this situation right now where you can't get shit done because of your son being gone. Some people could look at that as you being weak, as being emotional, you know, even the way that you're handling the current situation. So yeah, so that's that. Eventually they did end up finding her son, and you know he was fine. Let's get back to the queen. Okay, so first the queen meets up with Prince Edward. Okay, Prince Edward, you know, he was being picked on a lot, you know, but he's cool. He was picked on a lot younger, but now that he's in college, he's cool. And the main thing with Prince Edward is that he feels like this is what I had is that he's going to take advantage of the good that comes with being in a monarchy because of the fact that he has had to endure so much bad. So growing up, he's had to deal with so much bad. Now that he's an adult and he's able to fully take advantage of all of the perks that comes with being who he is, he's now going to do it, you know? And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Then the queen meets up with Anne. She goes horse riding with Anne, and you know she's like, "Isn't this a good time?" And I like Anne, but I don't like Anne. Anne pretty much just talks about how you know she's tired of the paparazzi, and she is tired, in particular, recently of being compared to you know Diana. She's like, you know, I really don't like being in the spotlight. I really like to just stay to myself. Clearly, because I didn't even know that the queen had a fucking daughter. Okay, but anyway. But she's like, you know, I like to stay, I like to mind my business. And but she was like, I do feel some type of way, you know, that now all of a sudden this new younger girl is getting all this praise because they're pretty much comparing them to like, oh, Princess Anne, she's so bleak and she's so moody. But Princess Diana, she's all uppity. Look at Princess Anne, she all, you know, look at her, she all normal and shit. Look at Princess Diana, she's all great and she's all wonderful. You know, just the constant comparison back and forth is annoying. And then you know, I found out this little tidbit. I had to go back and read because I wasn't paying attention that one season. But you know, the queen asked about her and her relationship, you know, her marriage or whatever. She's like, I mean, it's fine or whatever. And then she's like, the queen says that the man that she was messing around with, how they went ahead and they reassigned his ass. They was about to reassign his ass because see, that's not cute. And she was like, don't do this to me, mother. He's the only thing that makes me happy. Please don't do this. Now I read somewhere, and I didn't catch it in this episode, so please let me know because I'm not gonna go back and watch it right this second. But please let me know. Now I read somewhere that Camilla's husband, because I was always these past couple episodes I've been very interested in knowing how Camilla's husband, you know, felt about everything that was going on between like her and the prince and stuff. And I read somewhere that allegedly Camilla's husband is the person that Anne was dealing and messing around with. Now, if that was clearly said in the show, please let me know. I think maybe I just like missed that, or that just went over my head. But please let me know if that's who Queen Elizabeth was talking about. When she said that they were going to reassign him, please let me know if that's who they was talking about. So then she goes and she talks to Prince Andrew, and everything with Prince Andrew was it was alright. He pretty much was talking to her, about how you know things were getting a little bit out of control over there in the Falkland, because that's what it is. He was in the army, so he was talking to her, a military, so he was talking to her about how things are, and how things with the Falkland, like I said, with the shipwreck situation, was getting out of hand, and just giving her a little bit of advice on that. And then finally we had Prince Charles. She went to go see Prince Charles. At this point Diana pregnant as hell. She in the bed. She don't want to get out of bed. She don't want to talk to no fucking body. And he's talking about pretty much how she doesn't like it here, and she's not like you, mommy, and all this other stuff, and blah 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 blah. And then the conversation again comes up about Camilla, and how he was still seeing her. And in the nicest, politest way, the queen went off on Charles. Like she pretty much just went off on him in the nicest way possible. Like, you have to get it together. You're out here still messing with this woman that you're never going to be able to be with. You need to focus on your wife and your pregnant ass wife, okay? And your child. You too worried about this whore. And we thought we told you to let her go, but you want to keep going. This is what I don't understand more than anything. And I want people, because a lot of people have been like schooling me in my comments, and I appreciate it. I want to understand. You see how they sent people away, how they sent that person away, how they sent the person that Margaret was messing with away. Why did they never attempt to send Camilla away? Like, can somebody explain to me why is it that out of everybody else's significant other, they was paying them off money to go to different countries? Why did not one time, or did it happen, and maybe I just didn't get to it yet, why was it not like an option for them to give that woman money to go the fuck away? Not to say he still want to try to mess with her, but I'm trying to understand why that was never an option. So yeah, that was episode 3 and 4, y'all. I'm gonna do the other 2 episodes. I'll be back.